Unscripted. KSU. Quick, tactical conversations from the heart of the power sports industry. In this business, time is torque. So hit the ignition, twist the throttle, and let's fire it up.
Mark Sheffield, episode 17. We skipped an episode. That should be releasing very soon, our interview with David Baker. But episode 17, we are a week out from AIMExpo. Well, when this comes out, will probably be the week of AIMExpo. So let's start the pod clock. A little more rambling in this episode. A couple things that we want to touch on. First and foremost being AIMExpo, our speaking engagement. Give us a glimpse of what that's on. And then what else are you excited about for AIM, Mark?
Take 32.
You actually got one.
You think it's pretty cool, huh? So
that's awesome, and that's a complete surprise to me to not show me that before this. That is,
yeah, it was kind of chintzy. So I did some little woodwork, made it a little bit thicker, and it kind of sounds more official at this point in time. So
there we go.
Yeah,
love it. We're adding all kinds of things to the show. It's just getting better and better each week.
I hope so. And either that or we're going to get down to like 2 listeners every week and then we'll have to call it quits. So okay. What are we talking about at AIM? So we are going to be on stage talking about fixed ops, so parts and service and things that dealers can do to either make better use of their time or earn a little bit more money, increase their productivity and efficiency. So I think they gave us a list of 4 topics on parts and 4 on service. So we'll make some stuff up between now and then. And I think I'm going to be kind of the answer guy and you're going to be the data guy at this event. So because you've got all the data from all the dealers who give you their information every month, or every week, month, day, whatever it is, day, every 2 hours, something like that.
That's right. Every hour, every 30 minutes to an hour. Real time.
That's how often you poll dealers?
We're actually, our importer runs every 30 minutes. If we miss that push of data from Lightspeed or however it works, it will be between every 30 minutes and every hour. Yeah, real time.
All right, cool. Talking a lot lately about, kind of how do you take all that data and use it to motivate your team. I mean, a lot of dealers have got like a whiteboard up on the wall, and once a week you sold 3 vehicles last week and you made 12%, blah, 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 blah. But, taking all that and putting it into a dashboard that you can open up your screen, look at it, drill a little bit deeper if you want to. I truly think that's the future, or maybe it's even the past at this point in time. I think dealers should already be there. And so we're going to be talking a lot more about that over the next year, about how do we gamify the system. And again, not to kind of get in front of things, but I've got what I think is going to be a pretty good article coming out in Power Sports Business next week. And then I think that next month we'll build on that. But right now, we really got AIM to think about. So we, after we do our presentation with, who's that? It's, what's the name? MPN. So there's MPN and PSB and DN and FBI and CIA and all the other 3-letter, 2-letter things that are going on at this point in time. But after we get done with that, then we've got a podcast set to run every hour for 5 or 6 hours. So we're going to interview some industry players at that point in time. We already talked about that once, so I won't bring that up again. But they don't really know what the hell we're going to ask them. So we got I think a pretty good list of questions to see if we can trap them into a corner, and maybe, probably 1 out of 6 we can get to cry, possibly. But we'll ask some hard questions and see if we can get some good answers. And I think it should all be good stuff. There's a lot of cool things coming on. Is
that the goal of the whole trip, is just to see if we can get one person to cry?
That was my goal in 20 groups. I mean, I made multiple people cry over the years, and I don't get to do that anymore. So it's kind of, it's like a hole in my heart, and I need to backfill that with something. So yeah, it's, you make somebody cry, a couple of times. I can't do it to my wife. My wife pretty sensitive, and she's been taking kickboxing classes now, and she kicked me the other day pretty hard. And I was like, I'm gonna have to quit paying for those classes, because you're kind of starting to get pretty good with your left foot. So, but Yeah, it's kind of interesting. My wife comes back from these kickboxing classes and she's got her boxing gloves and all this stuff. And she's like, hey, my instructor today was having me knee him in the face. And I'm like, oh my God, what have I got myself into at this point in time? So
Good
yeah,
luck with that. Good luck with that.
yeah, yeah. Well, at some point, if I come to one of these and I got a black and blue eye, then you'll just know that I probably
Wow.
smarted off my wife and she put her training to good use.
Good.
So
I
what
hope
do you
she
think
does.
about?
I hope she does one day.
Yeah, if, maybe I'll make you cry. Maybe I'll work on that. Your wife didn't give you a new plan
What do
for
I think
Christmas,
about
did she?
what? Let's continue on.
All right, you want to get back to the real thing. What do you think about 2026? What do you think's going to happen next year? Because I think my gut feeling and my estimates for 2025 were pretty spot on. So I'll put you on the spot. What do you think about 2026?
I have been seeing a lot of good news, a lot of interesting companies and people in the industry posting of what their thoughts were. So I've derived my thoughts from other people's thoughts and a culmination of those. And my estimation, my guess, and we'll have to replay this at the end of next year, is going to be between a 2 and 5% increase across the industry. Increase in revenue, increase in new dollars being brought to the industry. I think there's going to be a little bit of growth, increase in growth, whatever you want to call it. I think there's going to be between 2 and 5% growth industry-wide for 2026. Mark it down.
Growth in dollars or units?
All the above.
Mm-hmm.
All the above, dollars and units. Yeah, just growth industry-wide.
And where do you think that's coming from? Because the other day, Cox Automotive came out and said they thought automotive was going to be smaller next year, not bigger.
I told you, all the dollars that people aren't spending on cars, they're going to go buy toys. That's
You don't
where
think
it's
they're
coming
going to?
from.
They're not going to use those dollars to buy food and pay rent?
No. I think the economy is on pace to be growing. I think people are going to have more income and more money next year than they did this current year, and I think people are going to want to enjoy their lives and spend it on toys and their hobby and their passion of motorsports and motorcycles and side-by-sides and jet skis and boats. So I think we're poised for a 2 to 5% growth industry-wide 2026. What should we bet on this? This should be like a bet between us. You're just saying flat. So you're going to say 0%, right? I'm going to say between 2 and 5%.
Yeah, I'm saying flat.
Okay. We'll see.
I'm all in on flat.
Okay. Well, let us know in the comments or wherever you guys see this, what you guys think. And maybe some industry news or some research or something to back up your opinions, because these are just our opinions. I don't really have much to go off of besides what I've been seeing out there. And I know Mark has probably more insight than I do, but let us know what you guys think. That would be interesting to see what people think.
You think there's any segments that are gonna win? Because I was supposed to I had booked a big Airbnb and was going to go snowmobiling at the start of February, and we canceled that trip yesterday because there's literally no snow on the ground where we were going to go. And
wow,
yeah, kind of. I mean, I'll find something else to backfill that time. But do you think motorcycles or watercraft or ATVs or UTVs? What do you think is going to be up next year?
I think ATVs and UTVs side by sides. That'd be my prediction. I think there's some really cool units. I mean, I've learned more about them this last year than I've ever known about them. And all these OEMs are coming out with some slick new models, and the EV. Like we talked about the other day, the EV ATVs are fast approaching the industry, and there's a lot of good reviews on those. So I think it's going to be ATVs and UTVs, combination of those two, that carry most of that weight.
Hey, circle back around. So we were talking about dashboards a minute ago, and last week on LinkedIn, I put up a poll, and I just asked, do you think that your GM and managers should have full access to the P&L? And I was kind of surprised that only a very small, like less than 5% of dealers said, no, our managers should not have access to that information. But at least in all my travels around the country and working with a lot of dealers, I tend to find that a lot of managers don't have access to the financials. So you provide some of that information to dealers. When you're setting up new dealers to access the Vision dashboards. What's that conversation like with owners about, constraining what people can see?
Yeah, it's interesting. Everyone has their own opinion. I would say the majority, though, give their high-level managers, so let's call it general managers, if it's a multi-rooftop group, access to all stores. From there, 50-50 maybe, 40-60 as far as sales managers and maybe service managers. They might just have access to their store, but they have access to the full store, so they can see everything. And then from there, a little bit less percent is the actual individual having access to just their department at just their store. I got caught again. And nothing else. So I see more times than not, though, like I said, multi-rooftop groups. I think that's the whole point of gamifying things. You want to show your managers where they stack up amongst all the locations within the group. That became popular years ago for us in the automotive space. And just that alone, I mean, I've seen groups on the auto side in the first 60 days, $250 increase in sales and F&I gross, so front-end gross, just by giving that group, whether it be 5 or 10 stores, access to a ranking of all the individuals within the entire group, so they no longer know just where they're at in their store, but they know where they're at within the entire group. So, like I said, I think in the last year, 2 years in this space, in the power sports space, I've seen that become a lot more prevalent. Everyone having access, at least the high-level managers having access to all stores, and then the conversations start, and then everyone can hold each other accountable, and then everyone can ask what they're doing, 6 hours down the road, what's working for them and why it's not working for them, because they have access to those metrics, those benchmarks, those analytics that they can start having pointed conversations and discussions. So I've always been a fan of giving everyone, at least the leadership level, access to all stores in all departments. I think it can only help and not hurt the individual dealer, the individual organization.
What do you do, though? I mean, you're talking about multi-rooftop operations. What does a single rooftop operation like ours, who are they going to compare against?
Benchmark reports. And that's why we built those.
You have all that?
That's why we built those. Yep. We built those benchmark reports and we released them to all of our clients because that's who they start to compare us against. And we built some custom ones too for regional performance or manufacturer performance. And then, the store level, I mean, once again, it's probably half and half, right? The sales don't have access to the service side of things on our dealers that do have access to both our sales, F&I, parts and service, different modules. And the same thing, service individuals, parts and service individuals just have access to those modules. So, but regional averages, benchmark reports. A lot of them work with trainers and F&I providers that offer some additional data and metrics. So we do our best to provide some sort of industry average for them to compare themselves against. And that be a starting place, at least if they have if they're not in a 20 group. A lot of them utilize 20 group numbers, as you know. So those benchmarking and industry average reports have been super helpful and beneficial for dealers.
Do you think F&I PVR should include doc fee or not?
Absolutely not.
Okay.
Absolutely not. But I mean, if you're comparing against the industry and you want, apples to apples, that's the problem, right? Because there's no apples to apples in this space from what I've seen working with hundreds of dealers. Some include it, some don't. And then let's not even talk about, we're not even talking about unqualified, what we call unqualified units, whether it be trailers or track bikes or, deals that are back on unqualified, which we have a feature for that too. We can capture that correctly, but I don't think so. It's a doc fee. We're talking about F&I numbers for an F&I professional. The F&I professional didn't do anything. He shouldn't include that. He or she shouldn't include that in their back-end PVR per copy. They didn't do anything to earn that. This should just be numbers, strict and preloads too. I mean, preloads, that's a whole conversation in itself, right? Because if you're preloading 3 products, for an average profit of $700 and your F&I manager's at $850 a copy, they're not doing very good because there's 3 preloaded products on it. They've already made the majority of that back end gross on those preload products. So I don't think we should look at as an industry back end profitability with doc fee at all, period. personal
Do
opinion.
you think preloading products is legal?
Man, that's a loaded question. There's a lot of different rules and regulations from what I understand, and that's on the state level as well. So it depends how you disclose it, and I don't want to sit here and act like I know every single individual dealerships or state regulation. So I know in some instances it is, in some instances it is not, and some it's a bit of a gray area. So I'll leave it at that.
Yeah, not something I really have a lot of expertise in outside of Texas, but I do think it's something dealers need to consider. I think, you look at all these litigation and class action suits and things that are going on right now. I mean, it can really be really easy to get caught up in something that maybe you'd never planned on.
Right.
The other one we've got going on right now is we are working on shopping our insurance, business insurance for 2026, and that's due next month. And they're asking a lot more questions than we've ever had asked before. So I think it's going to be interesting to see what our renewal comes in looking like. But I think we've got a good partner who's doing that for us. But I typically just tell them, hey, if you can come in flat, we're usually pretty happy. And I'm not sure that our insurance is going to be flat this year.
Time will tell.
But coming up soon. They only got 32 days left to give me my quote and keep everybody happy.
Right. Well, speaking of time, we're out of time. Anything else? Any final Markisms? Anything else for AIM that we're excited about, or we'll just see everyone there? What are your final thoughts?
No, I'm looking forward to going out there. So it sounds like a lot of people are going to AIM this year, and we're going to be pretty busy while we're there. I'm only going to be there for the day, but looking forward to bumping into a few old friends to see what's going on.
Looking forward to it. We'll see you at AIM this week.
Done.
Cut. See you next time, guys. Thanks.
Appreciate you riding with us on Raw and Unscripted. KSU. We'll be back next week with more ways to rev up your dealership success. Until next time, keep the throttle wide open.